Let's talk a little bit about silver today. You know, it's really good to ask questions and be skeptical about some things. We all know that silver is a physical, hard asset that you could keep in your house and that it's going to hold either some of its value or all of its value or partial value. At least you're going to have some hard asset that you can save so that when prices go up, you can sell it or you can use that silver for other trading purposes. But what I want to get in today is I want to talk about questions that we need to ask and we need to research. And if you want to, down in the comments, you can let me know what you think. Some of you might be experts in some of this area. You know, some of you are investors, some of you work in the stock market, some of you collect, some of you buy silver, some of you sell silver. Some of you probably have a silver business. And what I'm going to do today is I'm going to put out some questions here and just things to think about silver, and then take all this knowledge and try and put it together so we can understand the real big picture here. Number one, silver being shipped out of the United States. There's been a lot of talk about our wealth being shipped out of the United States. So silver and gold, you know, behind the scenes, leaving this country and getting to the point where we're not going to have nothing left. So that's number one. Number two is paper notes with no silver backing. We all heard that old saying that the dollar isn't backed by gold or silver, and it's just a worthless piece of paper, right? Well, in the stock market, if you have a paper note that represents silver, and you can't physically go grab that silver with your hand, well, you're being fooled because it's paper. It's worthless paper. It has no backing. So this would be just as bad as the dollar because it's a paper note that says you have silver, but when you go get the silver, it's not there. Okay, so number two. Number three, collectors and preppers stock representation. So with all the collectors out there and with all the preppers that want to save silver as a hard asset for hard times, that affects the stock price when they buy the silver. So what we need to know is how much of the stock price is just collectors and preppers. Marketing representation. This is another thing. How much of that stock price is marketing, is just people getting people excited about buying silver, even though they think it might be a bad idea. They just kind of push you and they try to get you excited to buy. You know, buy now because the price is going to shoot up to $100 an ounce or something like that. And it's the job of marketing to actually basically somewhat be a professional liar to make money. You know, they want to make everything sound exciting. And of course, what marketer would tell you that things are going to be bad because he won't make any money? Number five, real industrial demand. Now, if you take three and four here, the real industrial demand, how much of that stock price has to do only with the real demand, which is the industrial demand. So we have to know that. Like, for instance, you had a bunch of, when iPods were being made and iPhones and stuff like that, that was a big time when Apple needed a lot of silver for their products. So number five, the real industrial demand. And this also, you want to trace this back to the mining that's going on. How much are we mining? And what is the price that the miners are wanting so that the buyers can buy it? And who's buying it? Is it being shipped out of the country, most of it right here, like on number one? So you have to ask that question. Number six, fake silver representation. Believe it or not, all that fake silver, tons of it out there, reflects the stock market because it's marked to market. When they see that the silver is being purchased, that raises the stock price in some ways, and it's a fake representation of a stock price because of the fact that you have fake silver that's unaccounted for. So you have to realize that figures into it too. How much of that fake silver, if you had the stock price, you would have to adjust? How much would you have to adjust for the stock price to compensate for that. Number 7, pump and dump by investors with large holdings. You have to wonder if an investor, that has a lot of power and a lot of money can do a pump and dump where they just buy up everything as much as they can. They just buy, and they get everybody excited to buy, and then they dump it on the market, and then you're the sucker that loses. When the price goes down to $5, $4 an ounce. So you have to think about that. Are we being set up for a pump and dump by investors when they're talking about this $100 an ounce thing? Are they setting people up to lose money, is what I'm saying. So some of you investors out there might want to, put in your 5 cents worth, whatever you think is going on with that. I've done a little bit of research in that area, but it was mostly people from Europe. I think there's a lot of smart people over in Europe that lost their jobs and stuff in the precious metals industry because they were, blowing the whistle on some problems that we're having and how the markets are being manipulated with precious metals right now. Number 8, barter with supplier of goods. If an economic collapse comes, you're going to have to barter if you need certain items. If our cash is worthless and nobody's going to take our cash, they may take some silver. It's not going to be, what they really want, but if they do take silver from you, I can guarantee you it's not going to be according to the market. You might have a 10-ounce bar of silver, and you might just get a can of beans, and you're going to have to just settle with it, otherwise you'll starve. So you could sit on a stack of gold and silver, and you could actually starve to death. So the market isn't going to be in charge at that time. It's the guy that's got the supplies. So he's going to set the prices with silver. Number 9, a silver bubble, or even a gold bubble. A lot of people don't think about this. Everybody's saying silver and gold through the centuries has always been a form of trade. It's always been something we can trust, right? We've been saying that. And for centuries it has been a measure of wealth and a measure of trade and good practices. But the thing is that you could still have a bubble. You could still have a collapse. The only thing that makes silver precious and gold precious in many ways, or partially at least, is the fact that we trust in it. So, number 10, large futures contracts broken. Now, what's happening, a futures contract is where somebody that wants a lot of silver, like an automobile manufacturer or something like that, what they'll do is they want to buy a lot of silver, but they want a contract so that they could buy several months to lock in a certain price so that they can deal with their budget and stuff. So what they'll do is they'll get that silver for a certain price all the months in that contract. And depending on if silver price goes up or goes down, either the supplier makes a profit or even the automobile manufacturer makes a profit, depending on if it goes up or down. So the thing about the futures contracts is they're so big these days. There's a lot of big futures contracts that have been broken in the past. One of them was General Motors had something going with Russia, and they couldn't get the palladium or something like that. So that forced them to buy at a higher price because it wasn't locked in. So it really screwed things up for General Motors. So you could think of 100 different things that happened. But here's the thing. There are some large future contracts out there, and if they get broken, it's really going to cause a lot of problems because of the fact that the companies, they're taking the silver and they're expecting it, and they're expecting it at a certain price for that contract, but a breach of contract can really mess up production. It could mess up a lot of different things, and it could affect everything. It's like a chain reaction, especially when you have futures contracts for millions and millions of dollars. It can really affect the stock market price. It could affect everything in the silver industry. So, but anyway, hope you guys would comment on some of this stuff. It'd be interesting to hear what you have to say about it. Do your research on it and stuff like that. Don't just believe YouTube. Actually go down and talk to people. Go down to the coin dealer. Go down to the place that has the bullion and stuff. Visit and talk to these people about different things like that, and get a little backdoor wisdom about what's really going on. So anyway, thank you very much for watching.